Basically, every week in Battle Royale, you realize after the slate locks, you sit there and you go, well, that should have been obvious. I basically should have known that quarterback X, running back Y, wide receiver Z, they should have been the most obvious plays. And a lot of the Battle Royale content that I have done has been more structural, more strategic. But I think that what we're going to do today and what we're going to do going forward in this Thursday video is we are going to look at, well, which guys are being overdrafted, which guys are being underdrafted. Do those guys make sense to correlate together? I've got the Run the Sims projections pulled up. Now, remember, this is Thursday. This is 11:30 a.m. Central Time on a Thursday, which means that these projections are far from final. The optimal rates are also for salary cap DFS, but these are the FanDuel NFL DFS projections. And I thought it would just kind of be a fun exercise to begin before we hop into a bunch of drafts. And we will do a bunch of drafts. We'll do a Dawg Bowl qualifier. Maybe we'll even do a flea flicker today. I've been kind of meaning to enter into one of those contests. Of course, if you're new to Battle Royale or you're new to Underdog, make sure that you use code Davis to deposit over there on that platform. And let's begin at the quarterback position. Obviously, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are separated pretty wide. Honestly, more than I thought. A 25-point projection for Josh Allen. And these are just the base rates. So to take you guys, I guess this is a little bit of inside baseball, but this base projection that you're seeing, this is basically just porting over results from last week into this week or baselines over. So these are going to look a little bit different this afternoon. These are going to look a little bit different on Friday. So I would encourage you guys, obviously, if you are Run the Sims subscribers, you can get 10% off Run the Sims using promo code Davis or promo code Swole. The first thing that I noticed was that Drake May is the quarterback 10. And if a guy's ADP on Underdog is 35 or later, that means they're really not getting drafted all that often. And Drake May's base projection is really high. I know for a fact one of the reasons why Drake May's projection is so high is because it's making an assumption on his scrambling and his rushing, which is honestly probably for good reason. Drake May, 7 for 45, 10 for 31, 4 for 11. He is like legitimately getting out there and scrambling. So I do really like Drake May. However, that is not who I'm going to nominate as my first skeleton key. The first skeleton key is Jared Goff. No team pours it on and scores 50 more than the Detroit Lions. I mean, that is like basically what the Detroit Lions are all about. And looking at the projections over here, I thought it was interesting that Jared Goff was so low, 18.10. Obviously, the big difference is going to be, though, is look how massive Jared Goff's projected ceiling is. His projected ceiling is higher than Daniel Jones. It's higher than Caleb Williams. It's higher. It's actually the same tier as Patrick Mahomes. I thought all of that was very interesting. It's true that the Cleveland defense is no joke, and that is why his median projection is so poor. But basically, the number one thing that you have to do when you get into these games, the medians don't mean anything. These contests are so top heavy. They're so hard to win. And Jared Goff at 34.9. I mean, I'm basically assuming when the cards flip over on Sunday that we get a draft percentage. And keep in mind, ownership percentage cannot be higher than 16, right? 6-man drafts. So even if a guy's 100% drafted, they're only 16% owned. I'm thinking Goff is going to be something like 34% drafted, but close. I mean, that scales down to what that means. He's on 2 or 3% of the teams in the pool. Even less than that, Davis. You need to do good math. So I think Jared Goff is clearly there. Some other guys I was considering for this, I did consider Geno. I think the issue with Geno, obviously, is he just does not run enough at this stage in his career as a pass-only quarterback. Like if I was taking a pass-only quarterback in this game, I would just take a 90% drafted Caleb Williams. Like Caleb Williams will not be 100% drafted. And we could also see as a result, the ETR projections just went live and those have a big influence on the market. Also, Jaden Daniels is going to rise quite a bit in average draft position. Once this Q tag is removed from Jane Daniels is going to end up being the quarterback 4 ahead of Justin Herbert. I do think Herbert is probably being a little bit overdrafted right now, but Jared Goff. And I think that you guys knew this one was coming, but it's got to be Daniel Jones. I mean, I would take Daniel Jones ahead of Mahomes. I would take Daniel Jones ahead of maybe even Jaden Daniels because the stacks are so obvious with Daniel Jones. You were doing it one at a scarce position with Tyler Warren and then Michael Pittman Jr. And also, just by the way, if you're doing the 12-mans this week, if you are in the Dog Bowl, if you're in the Flea Flicker, if you're in the Squib Kick, I think that you can probably also do Adonai Mitchell. That's maybe a little bit of a spoiler for thinking about DFS. By the way, if you're just now tuning in immediately after this video, thinking about DFS is going to go live. That's the week 4 pick show with Jacob Sanderson. We go really in depth on that game. But my 2 skeleton keys at quarterback are going to be Jared Goff and Daniel Jones. I think that Daniel Jones is basically being underrated, honestly, for the same reason that Quentin Johnston is getting underrated. It's because his name is Daniel Jones. It's because his name is Quentin Johnston, right? I mean, we just, these guys that we have a large opinion on, we kind of never come around. Daniel Jones has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. 66 pass grade in week 1, where he barely had to do anything. 81 pass grade in week 2. 78% pass grade against Tennessee. Really low big time throw rate. And you might be saying, well, if he can't make big time throws, why would I want to take him in the Battle Royale? It is precisely because he is not making the big time throws that Shane Steichen likes him. Right. And I've not even done this research already, but I wonder what Anthony Richardson's big time throw rate was. I'm going to guess Anthony Richardson in 2024 had an absurd big time throw rate. Yeah, 6.8%, 2 big time throws. He had 1 big time throw in every game, except for the game he left injured against Pittsburgh. He had 4 against Houston. Obviously, we like big time throws, but what we like a lot more is 70% completion. 71% completion rate, 1 turnover-worthy play, low average depth of target. He's only taken 2 sacks. More importantly, he has multiple scrambles in every single game. As Nick stated, Dimes has basically just replaced Burrow in fantasy football, but also added rushing floor. Also, inside the 5, they just keep giving him the ball. And I think that is by design for Shane Steichen. I don't think that this is something that is like particularly likely to change. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Indianapolis Colts inside the 5 stuff. 2025 inside the 5 rush attempts, 40% for Daniel Jones on the team. And for the running backs, 50% for Taylor, and then Giddens got one in garbage time. But you've got Daniel Jones as, I think, basically, if I could only draft 1 team this week in the main BR. All right, Davis, you get 1 chance, and let's say for some reason, and I don't even know why someone would do this, but just follow me here. Underdog comes to me and they say, Davis, we're gonna run a promotion. You get to draft 1 team in the main BR, but if you win, instead of getting $50,000, you're gonna get $100,000. Daniel Dimes would be my quarterback. I would do Dimes and I would do Tyler Warren. I would take Tyler Warren in the 3rd round of these drafts, and then I would take Dimes. That is just my answer. You could disagree with me. You could say I'm playing bad. As Nick notes, really good pass rush for the Rams. The RPO stuff is going to be absolutely humming. There's going to be no Alec Pierce this week, which means Adonai Mitchell is going to be in there. My personal opinion is that it's going to help an offense to have Adonai Mitchell in there. You could totally disagree. Yes. You get $100,000 in site credits if you win, for sure. Okay, the running back position. And let me toss just a little bit more quarterback thought in there. Obviously, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are great picks. I'm probably going to be personally a little bit underweight on the elite quarterbacks this week because wide receiver is sort of thin. But I mean, do I think anyone in this top 10 is a stone fade? No. And I don't see, I'm not playing dart. I'll give you guys a super secret hint just while we're here, which is that if it's confirmed that Brock Purdy is going to play, Brock Purdy's ownership is going to be 75% lower than it should be. Remember how Peter Overzet in week 4 last year when Jordan Love went crazy against the Vikings, he absolutely smashed Jordan Love in on Friday afternoon and on Saturdays. And I believe that was the week that Peter won the $100, the bomb, and he got top 10 in the main BR. So I think Purdy is your, oh shit, Purdy's playing. It's Friday afternoon. 50% of the contest is full. No one's been drafting Purdy. There's your, and you know what? I'm even going to officially put him in the graphic. So Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, and Purdy, if he is confirmed to be playing. Let's move now to looking at the running backs. I mean, right away, there's a fairly interesting decision right at the top, which is what do you do with Christian McCaffrey? Because Christian McCaffrey has been awesome. And the workload is, well, let me rephrase that. Christian McCaffrey has been getting the greatest workload you could ever anticipate. If you want to go, maybe I can pull up the RotoViz expected points table. I don't even know what we're about to find, but I know that the expected points is going to be just like insane for Christian McCaffrey. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here. I know that his actual usage is not going to be that good. Like his yards after, what do we think Christian McCaffrey's yards after contact is? It's not going to be very, yeah. I mean, he's not even on this list of yards before contact. He is the 1 overall pick. Yeah. I mean, his floor is basically a wide receiver 1. He basically has the best usage of any player like of our lifetimes. I don't know. Has there been anyone else since we have been playing fantasy football? I don't think so. By the way, here's the expected points. 83 expected points. That's far and away number 1 in football. He's been negative 13 fantasy points over expectation. That's the first time in his career, I guess the 4 games last year, that he's been under expectation. I am taking Christian McCaffrey first overall. If I get 16% Christian McCaffrey, that's fine. If I get 16% Jonathan Taylor, that's fine. I am certainly taking both of them over Bijan Robinson. I'm certainly taking both of them over Puka Nacua. What I think you are wrong, like I would hear an argument that Puka Nacua should be the number 1 overall wide receiver because he's projected or the number 1 overall pick because he is projected so much better than every wide receiver. Puka projected for 20.98 FanDuel points. St. Brown projected for 16. I don't know what the ETR distribution is there. And again, these bands are going to tighten up big time. Like the projections that you guys are looking at right now, this is just the preliminary stuff over on Run the Sims. But I think there's an argument that Puka Nacua can be the number 1 overall wide receiver. Or the number 1 overall pick. I'm not taking him there because I'm an ADP respecter. I am taking Puka over James Cook, but that's maybe a conversation to have a little bit later. So in order, it's CMC, JT, Bijan, Cook, Barkley. Barkley is averaging 3.3 yards per touch this year. He maybe, Jacob said this earlier on thinking about DFS. He isn't running with a piano on his back, but he's maybe running with a ukulele on his back. Sorry to spoil Jacob's joke that you guys are all about to see in about 2 hours. But I'm a little bit worried about Barkley's efficiency. Absolutely loving Jahmyr Gibbs at this cost. Jahmyr Gibbs projected for more than Barkley, a little bit better than Hampton. As you guys can see there, I mean, Derrick Henry is not projected very strong. Really, really difficult matchup for Derrick Henry here. Hampton, I have over Henry. And honestly, if I was playing a truth serum game, I would also take Hampton ahead of Barkley. I'm not actually going to do that. I think Bucky is being clearly underdrafted. I think that Kyron, I wish that we could run back Kyron's price from last week. It feels like, I don't know what happened last week. I guess the market just momentarily lost its mind. Kyron last week was not even close to 100% drafted in BRs. He's going to be a lot closer. Scattaboo, I'm having a lot harder of a time with this week because I'm just not sure how much Jackson Dart is going to throw down. How much is it going to be, or check down? How much of Scattaboo's receiving work is going to be from design stuff? how much of Scadaboo's stuff is going to be checkdowns. And I just have not done this analysis yet. I'm a little bit curious. So these are the Ole Miss teams under Jackson Dart, 387 pass attempts. His rookie season, Quinshon Judkins, now who we're actually about to talk about, and Zach Evans combined for 27 receptions. There, I just did some math live on air. 27 receptions, 6th and 7th on the team. In 2023, we got Judkins and Ulysses Bentley to combine for 33 receptions, 5th and 6th on the team. And in 2024, Jackson Dart's final season, even worse. Henry Parrish for 15, Ulysses Bentley for 13, 28 receptions, 7th and 8th on the team, which does just kind of, I guess that basically just confirms my priors that if Scadaboo gets there, it's probably not going to be on the checkdowns that he was getting last week. Now, is it better to have Jackson Dart as your quarterback than Russell Wilson? I mean, come on. It's definitely better to have Jackson Dart as your quarterback. GM to Cbrax1, a new YouTube member. I appreciate you, man. You're a very good guy. Our first skeleton key, and this is more of a you got to believe, because the Genty usage has not been bad. Genty right now projected for 15.18 FanDuel points, more than Pollard, more than Henry, more than Scat, more than Judkins, more than Kamara, more than Travis Etienne Jr. And you guys might be saying, okay, Davis, you've lost the plot here, man. This guy stinks. The Raiders' offensive line is terrible. He has 70% of his team's rush attempts, 6% of the targets. I mean, we want him closer to 10% of the targets. He's obviously got all the rushes inside the 5, getting most of the short down and distance. And this utilization rate at 66, which, by the way, I do really like this utilization rate stuff. Like, just to compare, I'd like to look at some of the other guys around 66%. Better than Dobbins, better than Scat, better than James Conner before he got injured, better than Derrick Henry, better than Quinshon, better than Jordan Mason, better than Ramondre, better than David Montgomery. Like, the concept that Ashton Genty, that we've already written Ashton Genty off for fantasy football, to me just seems insane. This game is, I believe, the second highest total of the week. 47.5 is the third highest total of the main slate. These are two poor defenses and two offenses. Now, as Benny correctly says, the Raiders' offensive line is really bad. Ashton Genty currently right now is the only player in the NFL who has more yards after contact than total rushing yards. If we sort by run blocking, interestingly enough, the Raiders are not as bad as I thought in run blocking. I mean, the Bengals, 37.8 run blocking grade for the Bengals. Yes, the Raiders have also faced some pretty good defensive lines. I also agree that Genty has looked really good when he has had space. But basically, I think that Ashton Genty, in the very first slate he played, that he was on the first slate of the season, I believe he was the running back 8 or 9 on that slate. We are now, we're capitulating. This is an 11-game slate. Ashton Genty, I mean, he's behind, all due respect, man. He's behind Cam Scadaboo in ADP. All due respect. Respect being given. Come on, man. I can't look my future son in the eyes and say, in week 4 of the 2025 NFL season, I cost our family $50,000 because I drafted Cam Scadaboo over Ashton Genty on 8% of my Battle Royale teams. Can't do it. Won't do it. Therefore, I ain't doing it. You hereby have permission from me. It is Trevion Henderson week. I am adding Trevion Henderson as an official skeleton key. Right now, the way that this ownership works, and that you guys can check out the math done in the Underdog NFL DFS Masterclass by Peter, John, and Nez. You can get 20% off of that masterclass if you use promo code Davis over at dfsmasterclass.com. This basically means, assuming no big change in the projections, that Trevion Henderson is going to be drafted in 20% of drafts or whatever. I don't even think this is an outrageous idea that the team might still try and keep Trevion Henderson off the field a little bit, in terms of making Antonio Gibson or Ramondre Stevenson get the first series. But you heard it from Ramondre himself, right? Ramondre goes, the team needs me to be better. We also had that great graphic from Hayden Winks that indicates, and we are actually going to go find it because I think it is so illustrative of why we can play Trevion this week, which is that it was insane just how quickly the team turned the entire ball over to Trevion Henderson. And this is also a bad passing matchup, this is why I started to lean this way, is that the Carolina Panthers passing defense is actually pretty strong. If we look here, the same net adjusted yards per attempt allowed as the Kansas City Chiefs. They are 0.2 yards worse than the Seattle Seahawks, who we all think are like this really, really good defense. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying the Carolina Panthers are actually that good. A lot of that is going to be due to game script effects, and the game script effects have been very, very kind to the Carolina Panthers defense, but no one's had to throw against them. But basically, this is my supposition. This might be the latest average draft position that we see Trevion Henderson get in one of these contests. And if that's the case, I mean, I think that you probably want to be out ahead of that. To some degree, you want to be too early as opposed to too late. Here, I found the graph over on Hayden Winks's Twitter. You guys can see here is where Ramondre fumbled for the last time, and then here is where Antonio Gibson fumbled for the last time. The whole rest of the game, Trevion Henderson, Trevion Henderson, Trevion Henderson, Trevion Henderson. And you might be wondering, why would that possibly be? Because those dudes, not only have Ramondre and Antonio Gibson not really been that good, you can't be bad and fumble. I'm sorry, man. You can't be bad and fumble. So I have Ashton Genty and Trevion Henderson as legitimate skeleton, hashtag skeleton keys. I think my ownership of all of them is going to be well over the field. Some of the other guys I think are clickable. Maybe what is less than a skeleton key? They are morgue pin codes. That we're going to keep working on that one. It's not quite there. I do think Judkins is going to be a little bit underdrafted. My read on the way that the Cleveland Browns offense is structured right now is they found their new Nick Chubb. That was the line that Ben Gretsch had in Stealing Signals this week. But basically, like, the way to interpret these games is that they just want Quinshon Judkins to run the ball a ton. I think Hubbard is draftable. I'm not taking a ton of him. And if you want to get leverage on the field, I mean, this is probably more of a do as I say, not as I do, because I'm not going to draft very much DeAndre Swift. But if you look at the Bears ADPs, so you have Rome Odunze being 100% drafted, Caleb, who's probably being drafted, 70% of the time. DJ Moore is being drafted some. And then you have a bunch of Raiders guys who are being drafted as well. To correlate, you got Bowers, you got Genty, you got Jacoby Myers, who is our thumbnail guy here. I'm a cadaver key card is very funny, Benny. That is very, very funny. Moat crossers is also very good. But I'm probably not gonna take too much of him myself. And then I would just straight up, famous last words, I would straight up take Amari and Hampton over Derrick Henry. My Derrick Henry exposure is going to be sort of thin. And then I guess here, if you're playing 12 mans this week, here are some guys I think are clickable in the 12-man drafts. I think Travis Etienne is clickable. I think that Kareem Hunt is clickable. I think that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is clickable in the 12 mans. And honestly, that is about it because it's pretty thin. Now, Oh boy, is the wide receiver position. I don't ever really remember a main slate like this. So you have Puka Nacua, who is just way above everyone else. I mean, like I said, not that long ago, I do think that probably Puka Nacua has a, great. He probably should be the number one overall pick. What you can expect from Xavier Worthy, Nick, as you can expect him to miss this game. Anything extra bonus you get from Xavier Worthy, like his season should be over if you were able to get a 13-point game from Xavier Worthy, man. Count your blessings on that one. Then you have a huge gap from Puka to St. Brown, a justifiable gap, but still, I think just on the basis of the position, because of the gap from St. Brown to Neighbors. I mean, again, would you rather have Derrick Henry or Amon-Ra St. Brown? I will admit right now, Aaron, a member for 13 months, that I've done some Mahomes Kelsey. Yes, Worthy has been a full participant in practice. He also was a full participant last week. I believe I've done 45 battle royales thus far, and we are about to get into some after we finish the position by position preview. So then, here is where it gets interesting. Look at the discrepancy between the positional ADPs and the projections. And I'm not even saying these projections are right, because again, these are just the base rates over. But you have Neighbors, then you have Pearsall, who's not 100% drafted. You have Zay Flowers, who's the wide receiver 9. Nico, who I think is being overdrafted, because look how close these other guys are. Jacoby Myers is super close. Igbuka is super close. Tet is super close. Debo, and that's our first skeleton key of the week, is Debo Samuel, who I think right now is probably my single favorite wide receiver clip on the board. Although I did want to share this. I basically did not notice this when I was doing my write-up over on patreon.com/DavisMattic, and I don't really know how I missed it. But the usage for Debo on the season looks fine, right? 79% of the routes, 23% targets per route run. I don't know what happened here. Maybe one of you guys has a better read on the situation. He only played 48% of the routes last week. His targets per route run was still really good, but I don't have a good explanation. I'm thinking it was because of this. I'm thinking it was because there was a ton. We got Ben Sinnott, who actually played more snaps than Ertz. I also read on The Athletic. That's what I thought too, Tyler. I said that to Jacob Sanderson earlier this morning. Like, it's just totally blowout stuff, I thought. That was what that was my analysis. And so as long as there's nothing else going on there, I think Debo is our first answer. I think that Terry McLaurin is probably going to miss multiple. This is also like a relatively big game for the Washington Commanders against Atlanta. Like, this has not been the start of the season exactly in terms of the guys in or out that they thought they would have. And then, I mean, basically this is just going to happen every week, but let me give a point in Nate Nolling's favor here. Jacoby Myers is our second Skelly key at the wide receiver position today. He's projected very well on Run the Sims. He's projected very well on ETR. He's projected really strongly. Derek Carty always loves himself some Jacoby Myers. But the usage for Jacoby Myers has been really good. Even last week, 100% route share, even with Trey Tucker going nuts. And on the course of the season, he has 25% of the team's targets, a 72% utilization score. He's being targeted more often in the end zone, on third downs, play action. Jacoby Myers, would you help Jacoby Myers across the street if we saw him? It's a very good question. That's how I know Matt is a fan of the show. Matt, I will answer any fantasy football question you have for the rest of your life for knowing that information. I think Jacoby Myers is very clear, but overall, what we are strategically seeing here is the most overdrafted guys in the pool are the guys who are being 100% drafted, but project the same. So that is Flowers, that is AJ Brown. And I'm not saying these guys are bad picks, but they are, like, for example, Teteroy McMillan and Emeka Egbuka, like, for our purposes, basically project the same. but the ownership rates between the two of them is nuts. Lad McConkey, I'm just saying right now, Run the Sims does not know ball. Run the Sims. My guys, adjust the projections on the back end because I'm not with Lad McConkey projecting the same as Juwan Jennings. And then we have another huge leverage play here, and this one should be pretty obvious. DJ Moore. I'm all on board with the Rome ascension. I think Rome has been, a very good, nice surprise. But the discrepancy between these two guys is just not that large. It has been in terms of targets thus far, but the routes are, basically the same. The A dot is, kind of in the same variety. Like I expect that Rome is going to score many more fantasy points than DJ Moore over the course of the year. Do I think that the ownership should be this wide? Should Rome be drafted 100% of the time and DJ Moore drafted less than 5% of the time? Of course I do not. So the skeleton keys for me, guys I am looking forward to getting over the field on, are going to be Deebo Samuel, Jacoby Myers, and DJ Moore. I do think Tet, Brian Thomas Jr., Michael Pittman Jr., Keon and Shakir when you have Josh Allen, and probably one I never thought we were going to do. I have taken Tyquan Thornton just a couple times, and maybe the better thing to do would be to take Worthy. The thing that I'm worried about with Worthy would be he really could just decoy it up. But the last 2 weeks, so if you take out the Brazil game where the team was basically taken aback by what had happened, like in the middle of that game, they're like, oh, well, we don't have, not even the middle, the start of that game, they're like, oh, we don't have our guy anymore. That is pretty problematic. 23% of the targets, 22% targets per route run, leads the NFL in ADOT. How about that? How about this? Go through the entire NFL, search by total, search by total ADOT. I guess we'll do a minimum of 15 rounds, 20 rounds. There you go. Minimum of 20 rounds. You've got Tyquan Thornton, Dante Thornton. How about DeAndre Hopkins all the way up there in ADOT? But I do think if you're taking a little bit of Mahomes, you can take a little bit of Tyquan. Or you could just take Worthy, and if Worthy doesn't play, if I'm right that Worthy doesn't play, then you just take Tyquan. I would guess what a sharper player would say. Like if you asked Pete, John, Nez, Easy, one of these guys, what they would tell you is they tell you if you are making that click to begin with, you should take Worthy because Worthy is, maybe not going to play and Tyquan is for sure going to play. So you can never swap off Tyquan. Like Tyquan, once you take him, he's in your lineup, but Tyquan might just be a 0. He might be the wide receiver 5, on the Kansas City Chiefs when Worthy returns. But if you take Worthy, you've got Worthy's stuff. There you go. Mark knows he had the air yard sheet up, saw the Tyquan numbers. Yeah, I mean, you just cannot replace that style of average depth of target in the NFL as it exists right now. I believe Worthy is listed as questionable right now for this game. Xavier Worthy officially has the Q tag. Like I said, you can click Worthy and you can swap off him. My concern with clicking Worthy is that he plays just as a total decoy. Now, let us move to the tight end position. Fascinating position because it really depends on, how healthy do you think that one Mr. Brock Bowers is? Brock Bowers and Tyler Warren right now on Run the Sims, I mean, they basically project the same because what is happening to Brock Bowers' projection is that his brutal efficiency is carrying over into his projections right now. And I don't even think it's wrong for it to do that. But we did get a good quote from Pete Carroll that he practiced in full on Wednesday. He said, obviously he hasn't been himself. And I think we all know. I wonder, is this the worst 2 yards per route run games of Brock Purdy's career? Let's find out, or of Brock Bowers' career. Let's find that out right now. By position, by player. It's almost got to be Brock Bowers' worst 2 yards per route run games of his career. 2024 receiving. We have 0.97 yards per route run, 1.23 yards per route run. Let's check in 2024. No, wow. I did not remember either of these games. I did not remember 4 for 38 against Denver or 3 for 35 against Atlanta or 2 for 19 in week 4 against Cleveland. Okay. So, effectively, anyway, all of that is to say, make up your mind right now. Is Brock Bowers healthy or is Brock Bowers not healthy? You tell me. I tend to err on the side of if Brock Bowers was healthy, his projection would be a lot better than this. His projection would be 2 or 3 points better, and that would make him separate even more from the field. It's going to separate him way more than any of the rest of these guys have the ability to separate. Now, I do think Tyler Warren should be 100% drafted, and I do think that Tyler Warren should be a big part of your process this week. I already mentioned I really liked Daniel Jones. Got to talk about Dalton Kincaid. The Dalton Kincaid projection on FanDuel is 7.84, basically the same as Harold Fannin Jr., the same as Mark Andrews, the same as David Njoku, the same as Brenton Strange. What you're going to see is look at all these tight ends. From 6 to 8 points, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tight ends projecting all the same within 2 points. Then you have a slight upgrade from that with Kelsey, Henry, Juwan Johnson, Dallas Goedert. Obviously, hey, literally no one on this planet would be more excited about a 12 for 175 and 3 touchdown game for Xavier Worthy. I like this call from E. Coxer about Brenton Strange. The Brenton Strange usage, I mean, this is a worst case nightmare scenario stuff for those of us who were drafting Travis Hunter. 17% targets per route run, 65% utilization on 75% of the routes. If you look at PPR points, he's got more points per game than Brian Thomas Jr. I do think that with the 49ers pass rush ailing, you're going to feel really good about getting Brenton Strange at, 35.9. So if you let's say you take 10 Brenton Strange teams, you might make up 5% of the total Brenton Strange teams in the whole pool. Just like unbelievable how low owned he is. Cade Otton certainly has to make this list, assuming that Chris Godwin. Well, I'm not taking a ton of Cade Otton right now, but he is a good play, assuming limited snaps for Chris Godwin. If Chris Godwin plays 100% of the snaps, it's pretty bad. I'm not even going to highlight every guy. I'm just going to say this. This is not, I promise you, this is not me coping and hating on Chess Liam. But Dalton Kincaid is the tight end 3. If you look at his utilization rate, it's pretty good, right? Better than Tucker Kraft, better than Dallas Goedert. Look at what the difference is. 61% of the routes. Everyone else, except for Harold Fannin Jr. on this list, is over 75% of the routes. And the elite tight ends are way higher, right? We have Kyle Pitts, 91% of the routes. Cade Otton, 89%. Juwan, 87. Tyler Warren, 82. Njoku, 80. Laporta, 79. Kelsey, 78. Bowers, 79. I wonder, who is Dalton Kincaid? Dalton Kincaid is between Tanner Connor, Harold Fannin, Jake Tongas, and Jonnu Smith in routes. I'm not saying you can't click Dalton Kincaid. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that Dalton Kincaid at 100% drafted, if he's 29.5, he's not 100%. He's probably more like 87% or whatever. It's tough for me to get there. Obviously, Hunter Henry should not be going here. Hunter Henry is way overdrafted after the 2 tight end game last week. And Kelsey, whatever. It's like, I can't figure out I can figure it out. He's just not very good anymore. But we also were saying literally 48 hours ago that Mark Andrews was not any good anymore, and he just jammed 2 touchdowns down us. I think that Mark Andrews is a clear Skelly key this week, and I do really like David Njoku. as well, because I don't think that the Browns are going to be able to do what they did against the Green Bay Packers and just run the ball. Like Quinshon Judkins basically just ran that entire game. So I think the skeleton keys at the tight end position are Tyler Warren, Mark Andrews, and David Njoku. I just want to go through and highlight the all the skeleton keys here in one area together. We're going to go Jacoby Myers. We are going to go DJ Moore, and we are going to go Deebo Samuel at the running back position. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty, and Trevion Henderson are our skeleton keys. And at the quarterback position, I think that it's Jared Goff and Daniel Jones. So there is my opinion on the skeleton keys in week 4. Not to say you should draft these guys every time. Not to say you need to get, 25, like the way I draft. I believe last slate, I only had 2 guys over 30%, and it was Jordan Mason and Jonathan Taylor. But these are guys to work in, more than you would other guys in that range. Tyler Warren, Mark Andrews, David Njoku, Jacoby Myers, DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty, Trevion Henderson, Jared Goff, and Daniel Jones. I'm not saying I'm not playing Fannin, but there's been a real change for the Cleveland Browns in their usage last week. I was kind of hoping to avoid having to talk about this, but if we look at the week 3 stuff, oh, I dragged it too far. If you look at the week 3 stuff, so there was a huge shift. We got Isaiah Bond up to 58% of the routes, Harold Fannin down to 50%. Then if you look at the week before, it was a lot different. Fannin ran 58%, Bond ran 47%. And then in week 1, what really allowed Fannin to play all those snaps was Jamari Thrash and Isaiah Bond were each at 29 and 23%. Fannin is still absolutely a play. Fannin 101 million %. He is a play. If you have 10% David Njoku, make sure you have 6% of Fannin. And I draft a lot of teams. I draft over 200 teams a week. So you need to think about what that means for your own specific portfolio. But they are moving Bond up in their stuff a good bit. But I just thought this would be a nice new way to just kind of think about the DFS slate, basically. Like, I just thought it was interesting to do a full positional breakdown and just really look at, okay, well, what's going on here? What are the levers we can pull from a projection perspective that are not reliant on, running good? What are the levers we can pull that is, based on projections? So there we go. And I think that we should go ahead and hop in a BR and just kind of see what there is to see out there. I've not drafted. I've drafted 39 main slate BRs. Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea if Bond has been looking good or not. But I think that this is a fun battle royale slate. I think there are many different ways that you can go. I expect to see a lot of overlap. I think that is going to be one of the most interesting things. Is like, how many teams have Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid? How many teams have Lamar and Flowers? How many teams have Jalen Hurts, Emeka Egbuka, and AJ Brown? I think that is some of the more interesting stuff to think about in fantasy football this week. And I'm just always real excited to see, what does the field do right? What does the field do wrong? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? You always see those lineups kind of up at the top that are the huge chalk trains. It's like, there was one last week, I think in the main BR, that finished maybe tied for 11th, and it was 5 guys all drafted the same team. I am clicking the Daniels Q tag, one, because I can swap him to Daniel Jones, who I don't care if he's uncorrelated. There you go. I'm going to follow my own. Yeah, I am going to take Puka at 3. I mean, I think after that exercise we went through, doesn't it just feel like there's no good wide receiver after Puka? former BR winner Spike 9771. Is that true? Oh yeah, he's got the goat horns. He's got the goat horns. Yeah, for sure clicking the Daniels Q tag though. That's my opinion. I do think that Daniels is a really strong click because what there's just no consequence, right? Like if Daniel Jones doesn't play, first off, Debo is fine with Mariota. And you can also just play Daniel Jones. You can play Drake May. But I do like Puka over Bijan. I do like Puka over Cook. Maybe I won't be doing that a ton. Like I would like to have, if 16% is your average base rate of a player, I'd like to have 20% of Puka. That feels fine. As a Goff slappy, I'm taking a lot of St. Brown, a little bit less of Laporta, just because he's 100% drafted. No, let's take St. Brown. Kevin was just giving me a hard time. Let's take St. Brown. That sets me up to take Jaden Daniels. That sets me up to take Jared Goff. That sets me up to take Daniel Jones. Really any of those guys. And like I said, I do think the elite quarterbacks obviously have their place. I'm not saying the elite quarterbacks are bad, but when wide receiver is so dusty thin like this, it does make me want to prioritize Puka, St. Brown. Honestly, even Neighbors. Like, I think the projections are maybe going to be a little bit light on Neighbors, actually. Maybe that won't be the case, but I think they might be, just because I do think Dart is actually that much better. And let's take Tyler Warren and set up Dime. So now we have it set up in multiple directions. Hartnell down really likes Tony Pollard. He just the dude is locked in on Tony Pollard. No one has ever been so locked in as Hartnell is on Tony Pollard. I can't say that I'm with him. I mean, Tony Pollard's fine. He is a 7-point road dog in a game with a 38.5 point total. Which is interesting because yardage is down so much in the NFL right now that really the only thing that matters is scoring touchdowns. If you guys watched the video that came out on my channel yesterday, I cited some of Ben Gretsch's research on that stuff. Yardage is at a 10-year low. Yards per pass attempt is at a 10-year low, but scoring is actually up, which is interesting. Scoring is actually up because of the short fields, which is sort of interesting. The GM start is Puka and any of these running backs. It's like if you could get Jonathan Taylor and Puka, if you get James Cook and Puka, I would consider that to be the big GM start. I think there are a couple reasons for the shift in scoring. Let me do... Well, yeah, dude, Davis, just put your money where your mouth is, bro. You told me you were taking Ashton Genty. Take Ashton Genty. Most of it is... A lot of it is that... I would say, number one, it's that a lot of quarterbacks are bad, and they're just unwilling to make tight window throws that are required to beat cover 2 defenses. I think there are other systemic things, like offenses just don't practice that much anymore. I think that offensive line play is bad. I think that also there's such a difference between the game of college football and professional football that a lot of guys show up not ready to play. But the kickoff is the big difference in scoring. Yes. Kickoffs are different, and there's a really sneaky one that Ben found as well. All right, I mean, what? I will take Derrick Henry at 29th overall or whatever. The other thing is, you know what else is up? Penalty first downs. First downs via penalty. This is all credit to Ben Gretsch over on Stealing Signals. Penalties via first down are the highest rate. I don't remember the exact stat. I believe it's up 20% over last year and like a 15-year high or something like that. Or maybe it might actually be the highest number since the data started being recorded. You guys would have to go into Stealing Signals to like really figure that out, but pretty interesting. In case you guys don't realize, Stealing Signals very worth the money. It's a very good purchase. Let me take a sip of coffee. I think this is going to be yes. Oh, this is another huge thing. Fourth down, going forward on fourth down, and fourth down conversion attempts are also way up, which is good, which is very good for scoring. It also extends drives for offenses. Wow. We lived to see Oronde Gadsden be selected in a battle royale. How about that? Oronde Gadsden selected at pick 31 by user Discount Weasel. I have a feeling Discount Weasel might be a slappy. I think he might be a slappy. All right, and then we are going to take our skeleton key quarterback, Daniel Jones, right here. So our first team that we drafted is Daniel Jones, Ashton Jeanty, Derrick Henry, Puka Nacua, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nice little team. Perfectly executed. We got all gold star player. We got all the guys I liked other than Henry, but that is just a nice little bit of ADP value, which I'm happy to do. Happy to do a little bit of real time CLV. Yeah, Harbaugh glows over everyone, but I think a deserved glow over Oronde Gadsden. Gadsden is the best receiving tight end they have. It's just a matter of how much can he contribute in the game. The kickoff rule making returns a thing again, starting at the 30 or 40 on touchback. Yeah, no, it's 100% true. You like yards are going to be at a huge premium. That's something that you guys should probably note when you're over in the Underdog Pick'em lobby. You'll notice that a lot of the picks that I make, like the video I did for the YouTube short that I did for the picks, the only yardage one that I did was Torrey Horton. It was rush attempts for Kyler, and it was a touchdown for Trey Benson. In a league, I have no running backs. Would you trade Nico and McBride for Ladd, Warren, and Henderson? Yeah, dude, yes, I would. Hunter, I think that's a huge win for you. I'm so down on the Houston Texans. If Nico beats me this week, like I'm going to be really light on Nico this week. I do not think the Bengals should try and get Russell Wilson. What is the point of the Bengals getting Russell Wilson? The Bengals team sucks. The only reason the Bengals ever compete is because they have a good quarterback. And here you go. I'm also not going to do this. I'm also not going to take James Cook over Bijan Robinson. I just tossed some ranks in here. What I did is I tossed aggregated projections in a ChatGPT and told it to build me some VORP. So it's definitely not all the way there yet. My issue with taking Kmet this week, Mark, is that this dude just cannot earn a target with Caleb Williams. His days of getting targets. I'm about to show you guys something disgusting. We're gonna look at the Chicago Bears. Cole Kmet, 75% of the routes, 8% targets per route run this year. Last season, 76% of the routes, 11% targets per route run for Cole Kmet. Which is not to say you can't take. I mean, I would take Cole Kmet maybe a little bit in the 12 mans, but probably not in the main BRs. What do I do here? You know what? I'm taking Bowers. So I'm not going to take Genty on this one. I'm going to take Bowers because I'm a man of his word. And I believe strongly in one Mr. Broccolus Bowers. I think he's very good. Brenton Strange, DK. I'm not there yet, Brady. I have not started to look at DK Cash yet. I'll probably put my placeholder in for DK Cash tonight. We'll see. Liam will not be happy about taking Bijan over Cook. He is He's very brocculent. It's true. Start one at flex. Probably Kincaid over Mooney. All right. Bijan Bowers. Do I try and do... Okay, you know what? Well, I'm actually going to set this one up to be... I'm going to set this one... I'm going to do one version of something we just talked about, and I am actually going to do a worthy team this time. So I'm going to take Kyron, who I think... The hate on Mr. Kyron, I mean, not that I really like him, but it's probably gone too far. Definitely Benson. I expect a pretty huge game out of Trey Benson tonight. I think Trey Benson should get like 18 rush attempts and 4 targets or something like that from Kyler Murray. Now, the Cardinals are missing 2 of their starting tackle. Well, not 2 of their starting tackles. They're missing their left tackle and his backup, which is not great. So maybe the run blocking takes a little bit. Not on Dart yet. The Chargers defense is very good. All right, let's do... Well, sure, let's do Flowers, and then we'll take Patsy, and then we'll take Worthy, and we got ourselves a little game stack. Sharbs has fully practiced all week, which I thought was strange because they were also estimated practice reports, but he practiced all week. I don't know. What do you even do with that? So here you go. You got back-to-back full participants listed as questionable, but I think Charbonnet is gonna play. So, do with that whatever you will. Is Michael Carter still dead ass on the Cardinals practice squad? I would play Ken Walker over Olave. I would for sure wait on this decision, Mr. Reaper. I would not make that decision until you know about Worthy. Gino or Caleb over Gino. Caleb is a good fantasy quarterback. It might take Caleb some time to like fully bed in as an NFL quarterback, but let me tell you one thing. That man is a good fantasy quarterback. All right, and we will take Mr. Mahomes. And how about that, boys? One Mr. It feels... I mean, I can't believe I'm doing this. When was the last time I said... I mean, I am sure I've said cromulent multiple times this week. Wow. Jake loves pain. He can't wait to play Marvin Harrison Jr. at captain tonight. That's a man who hates pain. Yeah, every day on my YouTube channel and on Twitter and on Instagram, I post my underdog plays. Wow, Philly says it's a Devontae week. All right. First time I have taken Xavier Worthy in a Battle Royale draft since PTP in week 1. No, we are certainly not sure about the 165-pound wide receiver with the torn labrum. But you guys all bullied me into it, so there you go. That is the first time I've taken Mr. Worthy, Bijan, Bowers, Kyron, Flowers, Worthy. So you've got the Baltimore, Kansas City game stack. Got the 2 stud running backs. You got Bowers. I mean, not loving Worthy, obviously, but the Mahomes stuff does provide some significant leverage on the field. Yes, have to take Keon tonight so that he can catch up to his what if Keon Coleman goes for 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns pace. Yeah, I've ooh. Michael, I have not thought about the fact that I'm too sure about not being sure. This is actually a really good point. But I mean, I think the key thing, you guys, and you guys all know this, is I can't be a reliable narrator. How could I possibly be a reliable narrator about Xavier Worthy? I can't even get myself in that headspace because I was so offended by his injury. I was so personally buried by his injury that I can't be rational and level-headed about it. All right. You know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do on this one? We are potentially going to waste a Christian McCaffrey team on this one. And you only get so many of these. But what we're going to do, I just had my own long blonde hair in my mouth. What we're going to do is we're going to do an example of what it looks like to take Purdy. Do you like Geno, Caleb, one wide receiver, one bring back with JT, Adams, Puka? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. That's a very good build. I worry it might be a little bit common, but yeah, I love that. I'm sure I've got many iterations of that team. Bench one of Benson, Scat. Oh, God. I mean, it's Scataboo, but like, don't watch the game. You're going to be so mad about it. So, problem with drafting too many good players. You know, there certainly is something to be said for not tilting points on your bench. Generally speaking, it's a very good thing to have good players on your bench in fantasy football. But yeah, I think this is going to be a high strategery draft because we are going to take Brock Purdy on this one with McCaffrey. So we can kind of chalk it up to some degree. We're going to take Amari and Hampton. And I'm also going to take Malik Neighbors. I'm a little bit higher than the projection stuff is on Malik Neighbors. I think it's hard for the. I mean, how would a projection system even how would a projection system even capture Jackson Dart and the difference between Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson? I mean, obviously I know the ways that it would, but it's like certainly part of the reason why Russell Wilson got benched is because he couldn't get the ball to Malik Neighbors. Favorite captain for tonight's showdown is Jackson Smith and Jigba. 60% worthy across 400 drafts is crazy. Rams receivers are projected really high because 70% of the team's throws go to two guys. All right. Let's do. All right, let's do it. Brian Thomas Jr., screw it. I'll believe one more week. We'll do Brian Thomas Jr., we'll do Mark Andrews, and then we're going to do Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy with the Q tag, potentially swapping into Jaden Daniels or Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert or whatever. It's also a good week that you can totally get away with an unstacked quarterback. Javonte, Ken Walker, Pearsall. I would sit Javonte. I am very worried about this defensive matchup for the Cowboys. It is a bot move, but end of the day, Mr. Bobby Hill, fantasy football is supposed to be fun, and Cam Scataboo is fun. I don't think the Broncos receivers are very good. I don't think the Miami receivers are very good. The Miami receivers are fine, and the Titans receivers are bad. So you are wrong. And the Broncos have the least condensed target tree in the NFL. Tua obviously is worse than Stafford, and Cam Ward at this stage of his career is bad. So yes, I don't think you are analyzing the situation appropriately. All right, Jake says, I'm not hip to all the swap stuff. If you take a lot of Purdy and Daniels this week and they don't play, do all those teams swap to the same quarterback? It's a good question, and I'm going to answer it. I'm actually going to go really in depth, or as in depth as I can on this answer. It's not all going to swap to the same quarterback because it depends what else happens inside your 6-man lobby. So let's say Discount Weasel selected Jaden Daniels. I select Brock Purdy. They both don't play. I, as the final pick of the draft, get to pick first in the swaps. So let's say I have, and I'm just making these examples up. Let's say I have Michael Penix Jr. as my top swap. And let's say Discount Weasel also has Michael Penix Jr. as his top swap. I would get Michael Penix Jr. as the swap. Discount Weasel would not get Michael Penix Jr. He would get whoever his quarterback was ranked after that. He'd get Joe Flacco, right? Because in an individual 6-man lobby, a player cannot be drafted twice. It goes by the rankings that you put in the lobby. Something you can also do, and Pete, John, and Nez talk about this in the masterclass, is you can also just let ADP do it. You can basically just say, well, whatever the swaps are, I'll just say the market's better than me, and I will let the market decide. I never do that, but you can. Yes, Garrig. If you pick Mac Jones and Purdy starts, but Mac is active, you're stuck with Mac Jones. Yeah. So if you pick Mac Jones, Purdy's questionable, Purdy plays, you are stuck with Mac Jones. So you need to be thinking about one thing you need to be thinking about with swaps is how many guys at a position are questionable. Like if there was a week that like 3 high-end, like let's say CMC, Bijan, and Jonathan Taylor were all legitimately questionable, like legitimately game time decisions, there would actually be a little bit of edge in taking Tyler Algier or Brian Robinson Jr. or DJ Giddens in that circumstance, because you'd be taking away swaps that your opponents in the same pool could have. That's obviously like a really, really unlikely scenario, but it's a way to think about it. I mean, I think really the only swap stuff you have to think about this week is the quarterbacks. It's really just Jaden Daniels, because Brock Purdy is going to get drafted like none percent of the time. I mean, basically, you cannot swap certain quarterbacks for certain lineups. Like, let's say you really want Justin Herbert to be your swap in a Ladd McConkey lineup. You have no ability to control that. The Underdog system does it automatically based on your rankings and based on what else is available in your lobby. So it's not exactly, it's certainly, it's also, it's a little bit of an imprecise science, right? All right, let's do a dog bowl. Let's get ourselves into a dog bowl qualifier. All dogs go to Kansas City, they're saying. Well, sometimes you do need to be like it's a little bit easier in this. It's a little bit easier earlier in the season because we don't have as many clear questionable spots because guys are not as banged up yet. Yes, the swaps are for every draft where your pick does not play. So, I mean, you could take a whole list. You could take nothing but questionable guys if you wanted. My favorite quarterback streamer, Gino. Yeah, Gino, Dart. I saw Purdy get dropped in a fair number of leagues. He would be a pretty high end streaming option. I mean, Purdy just is going to score a lot of fantasy points, so I would think he would be good. Wow, Michael Scott is here. GM Michael Scott. No, I feel very bad about the Kansas City Chiefs. I do not think they are good. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are not ideal. Wow, GM Dane, thank you for watching. The Raiders aren't very good, but Gino already has 303 games. Is that right? Maybe he didn't have 300 in the last game. He has 289-3 against Washington, 362-1 against New England. Geno Smith right now in passing yards is second in the NFL in passing yards. Geno is 7th in the NFL in YPA. I mean, people hate him. All right, we've got Michael, my guy Emsos in here. We've got Go AZ Cards. We've got Drap. We got Hefty. We got my boy Dane. We got Vinda P. We got Best Ball Viper. A lot of goat horns to be found. Judkins did look very, very good. Dude, I just watched a stream that told me Puka is the skeleton key. You can set your rankings for these swaps. Let me select Bucky Irving here. You can set your rankings for these swaps in two places. So you can go to drafts, completed. You can go to the slate and you can click on your swap rankings and you can set them right there. Or you can just do it in the rankings tab. So you can go to NFL Sunday main slate and set your rankings there. Either of those places will bring you the exact same thing. And yeah, I guess I am just gonna. Actually, I think running back is maybe a hair deeper. I'm gonna take Roma Dunze with Marquis. Yeah, no more Ty Bot. Haven't seen any more Ty Bot today, Dip. Oh, Nez is in these. They're probably streaming right now. The brothers are probably about to fire up their stream right now. Thoughts on James Cook and Cash? Go with God. I will probably not be playing James Cook in Cash. All right. I'm holding a Vigilato for free amp. I cannot believe that Bot donation. Is Dylan Sampson dead? Yeah, he's pretty dead. He's pretty dead until they trade Jerome Ford. Once they trade Jerome Ford, then it's on. Well, I mean, they might even cut Jerome Ford, frankly. Nez is in my DBQ right now. He's grinding multiple tables. Yes. When I say the brothers, and it's funny because their YouTube channel is not even Badge Brothers, it's just Badge Bros. When I say the brothers, I always say I mean John and Nez. Which they might not even like, but that's just what my brain does. Maybe it was kind of a leak to take Roma Dunze there. Is Roma Dunze one of the best 15 picks in fantasy football this week? No, the Chargers do not need Jerome Ford. The Chargers have a young man. You guys might have heard of him. His name is Kamani Vidal. I wonder, I actually have not done a Twitter search yet for Kamani Vidal. Let's see if I can find anything. Current running back room for the Chargers is Hampton, Haskins, and a guy I've never heard of. Do you guys know Amar Johnson? I've never heard of this man. He went to South Dakota State. Oh, all right. FCS guy. Yeah, what if, sir, a second wheel route has hit the Chargers backfield? Amar Johnson. Wow, he is from very close to St. Louis. He's from O'Fallon, Missouri. A compact runner with a fairly average number of home run carries. Below average instincts. All right, I don't love that. Candidate for bottom of roster or practice squad per NFL.com. Wow. And I get to take a Skelly Key running back here. Trevion Henderson. Come on down. Samson hardly played last week because they are playing what's his name? They're playing Jerome Ford in that role. They like, they like Jerome Ford, as Chesleyham told you guys many, many times that they like Jerome Ford. Why don't you guys just listen to Chesleyham, man? He gives you the answer to the skeleton keys. Man, I really thought Amar Johnson was going to be something. Amar Johnson had a big preseason week 1 for GB. A second half long TD run. Yeah, what Gus Edwards saw Najee Harris got injured, and then he got up off the couch and did a couple push-ups. Nick, there was a very, very bearish quote on the broadcast last Sunday where Andy Reid told the NBC production meeting, he was like, yeah, Brashard's too small. So I fear our sweet prince Brashard shan't be happening. We're going to take Caleb Williams with Roma Dunze. Caleb Williams, Bucky Irving, Trevion Henderson, Roma Dunze. The question is, how bad of a pick is Trey Tucker in the Dog Bowl? Yeah, because I think they asked. I'm sure the guys asked. Collinsworth was probably like, hey, when are you gonna play this kid from SMU? That's a terrible Collinsworth, Davis. And Andy Reid was like, this guy's too small, dude. It's never happening. Well, he's too small. He's too small to be Pacheco. He's not too small to be like fancy McCole Hardman. That's what Brashard Smith was drafted to be. Brashard Smith was drafted to be, fancy McCole Hardman, DeAnthony Thomas. I think he's a little bit smaller than Bucky, but something that people always kind of, and some, I guess you guys probably get this, but the Chiefs have different positions inside the same positional group. Brashard Smith weighs 194, and Bucky, how much does Bucky weigh? God, I don't even know why I try and use Player Profiler. It never works. Bucky weighs 192. But Bucky also would not be, the Chiefs would have never drafted Bucky. Like I bet that Bucky Irving did not have a draftable grade from the Chiefs front office. I don't know that, but I would guess that the Chiefs were like, they took one look at Bucky and they were like, fuck no interest. Well, you guys know, do you guys realize who's currently playing the Jerick McKinnon role for the Kansas City Chiefs? I wonder if you guys have gone deep enough down this rabbit hole on how shitty the Kansas City Chiefs are to realize who's currently playing the McKinnon role. But it's Kareem Hunt, Kareem Hunt is running 35% of the routes, 84% of the long down and distance, 28% of the 2-minute drill. Let's go back and look at the 2022 Kansas City Chiefs. 2023 Kansas City Chiefs? 2021 Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, they don't, McKinnon is not showing up because he's no longer active in the NFL. McKinnon does not show up on Fantasy Life anymore because McKinnon also was 215 pounds and was a former college quarterback with like an all-time RAS. Okay. People are going to forget this. Jerick McKinnon, all-time relative athletic score. He also is so old that his relative athletic score is the old layout. Elite explosion grade, elite speed grade, 210 pounds. He's pretty short, but he had a huge broad jump, huge vert, crazy 3-cone, crazy short shuttle, crazy 40-yard dash. Got up to 22 miles an hour on his 22.2 miles an hour is crazy. Jerick McKinnon is one of my favorite players of all time. I love that guy. Oh no. What was the Reeves Jerick stat? I missed it. I did not get the Reeves Jerick stat. You got to hit me. All right. What do I want to do at second receiver? JMO, I actually think is very interesting. JMO is a really good pick here. I could take Luther Burden. I could take Shaheed. You know what? I am going to take JMO. What are they going to do? Stab me? What are they going to do? Someone won a dog bowl seat. So this is actually true. Someone won a dog bowl seat last week with 5 points from Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, Jordan knows. JMO and home blowouts goes crazy. Childress or Zimmer, whoever should be in the Hag for the Asiata McKinnon usages. I do. I'm having the courage. Washington running backs, I would take a little bit of Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt in 12 mans, and that's it. And you know what? Assuming Troy, this dude can't. I'm taking Kelsey here. Kelsey is so much better than Dallas Goedert or Brenton Strange. I'm sorry, boys. I'm doing it. Caleb Williams, Bucky Irving, Trevion Henderson, Roman Dunze, Jamison Williams, Travis Kelce. I mean, I feel as if I think I just won the dog bowl. I think I just did it. What am I going to do with my rewards? Well, I was more making the joke about man who just got stabbed. What are you going to do? Stab me? JMO is this week's Sutton. All right. I'll take it. That's a nice team. Caleb, Bucky, Trev, Roma Dunze, Jamison Williams. I like this team a lot. Lots writing, obviously, on Roma Dunze continuing to be good. Should we do a quick PTP just to see what's going on in these lobbies over there, because I think the Primetime Palooza strategy is pretty interesting. Primetime Palooza strategy. So there's a couple really interesting things. I already have a Ronde on my Home League Dynasty Taxi Squad. Shout out to the Davis Medic YouTube channel. PPR RB1 in back-to-back games. JT the first since Jerick McKinnon. That is beautiful. So this PTP is interesting for a couple reasons. The first is it's 3 games instead of 2. So you have quarterbacks in Wentz and Rodgers who do not get drafted every single time. The other is that Charbonnet is questionable. I think he's being underdrafted, and I'm leaning towards him probably mattering on this slate. The other is that there are multiple good tight ends. McBride, Kraft, Ferguson. I don't think Hawkinson is in the same tier, so you definitely can get away with 2. Yes. The guy drafting in the 1 hole right now, I always call him Tuna. Masayoa Tunya. That can't be right. He won $1 million on FanDuel a couple weeks ago, and he's out here grinding PTPs, which is incredible. But I also like Benson more than I like Walker. I like Golden more than Harrison. I like Dubs more than Addison. I like Horton more than Cup. And I like Wicks the most of any of these guys. Wow. And we get to start with Jordan Mason. I also think probably JSN is the rightful 101 of this slate. But I don't know if I'd have the courage. All right. Yeah, I mean, I will just happily take Mr. T. McBride here. Jordan Mason, Trey McBride. You love, well, I personally love to see it. No, I think JSN over Jacobs is really good. I wonder if I have no idea what the projections are gonna say, but let's look up these inputs. We'll go Run the Sims, Classic Slate Opto. We'll go 14 games. Oh, it's not Sunday through Monday. I need all 16 games. I'm not on the clock yet. All right. Oh, and I need to go FanDuel. Operator. Oh, hold on. Let me make this pick. Mason, McBride. Do I want to take Love? See, this is why people are taking 2 tight ends, because I think Kraft probably projects better. Let's do Love, and if I get Golden, gravy. And if I don't get Golden, that sets me up to take Wicks. Got a JSN, JJ Pickens, GG's. All right, and I do get Golden. So bada bing, bada boom. I do think the 2 tight end stuff seems fine to me. All right, we've got Jackson. Oh, I'm at quarterbacks. Oh, I'm on the wrong slate. 16 games. We've got Jackson, Smith, and Jigba for 15.92. Josh Jacobs for 18.17. So no. So it is slappy-ish. Slappy-ish. I'm not saying full slap. It's fine. JSN plus Arizona Cardinals pass defense equals a legendary game. Yeah. The issue with this game is that Arizona might just not be able to do anything on defense, or on offense, because their offensive line is so bad. JSN will be under 50% of the cap then, because a lot of it's going to be on Benson. A lot of it will be on the Seattle running backs. And I'm about to put my money where my mouth is as well, because I am going to take Zach Charbonnet here. To me, it so clearly looks like Charbonnet is the edge of this slate that it almost makes Charbonnet a bad pick, how clear it is in my mind. I know Run the Sims has it as like really, really close. I wonder what do I think ETR has it at? ETR. Oh, I need a wide receiver. Taking Cavante Turpin. Yeah, that's how you scroll, boys. ETR has it. Walker for 12, Charbonnet for 10.5. So it's pretty close. Yes, I did snipe Jake's quarterback this morning, and I didn't feel bad about it. Dak, Kyler, Geno, or Dimes at quarterback this week. Dak, Kyler, Geno, or Dimes at quarterback this week. I mean, it's Dak, but I don't feel that good about it. All right, so that's some PTP strategy for you there. If you guys are interested in PTPing out, let's do. You know what? Let's do one of my single entries. Let's do the victory formation, which is, I think, the last single entry contest that I've not done. And we can talk a little bit about single entry BR strategy on Underdog, because I think it is a little different. Man, I mean, it probably is Dimes, but man, feels bad to bench Dak, because you just know Dak is getting a bazillion throws. Man, we are yes. And so if Charbonnet does not play in your flex, you get your highest ranked running back or wide receiver, which is another reason why I think he is a good play. Burden or Wicks. I assume no one cares, because no one cares about Bond playing 70% of the snaps because the passing game is not very good. And we also all already decided that that was Harold Fannon's job by birthright. I would assume is a big reason why no one cares. But you're right. It is worth noting. Dak or Indiana Jones. I'm going Dak, but if you wanted to start, Daniel Jones, I wouldn't tell you there. I wouldn't say there's necessarily anything wrong with that. That is my official. That's the official Davis Maddock branded opinion. Is that it's fine if you want to. I'm like I said, I'm very, very high on Daniel Jones. I think that game is going to be really good for fantasy sports. I would go Wicks over Burden because I don't think Burden is going to be a full-time player probably until week 6. Now, that's one of those where I'm also happy to be wrong, if that makes sense. Like getting that one wrong feels fine because it means I have Luther Burden. We just spent on an FFPC main event team single entry. Let's do Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Adams. How's that for a weirdo build? Not going to be very many of those in the old victory formation. Don't think you'll see too many of those out there. And we can take Jared Goff using the run. Yeah, Brock Bowers is back, Mr. Slime Santana. Using the Run the Sim runner for Seattle, Arizona tonight. Do you have a specific way of playing single slate you prefer? I sort most slates, James, by the EV tab, but not every slate. Sometimes I'll want to get myself out of a funk. I also do a lot of I do a lot of massaging of the projections and of my player pool that maybe other users would not do as much. But I do really like to do that stuff on it's a lot. The Run the Sims product is very fun to use. No, not sure if it oh, yes. So basically the single entry stuff is these contests, they're so small. Like how many entries are even in this? 564. I mean, the only thing you have to care about in these is getting high projected points. There's basically no value really in being unique. So you could almost even like auto drafting off of ADP if ADP was efficient would be fine in this contest. Like you don't have to you really don't have to focus on scrolling down hardly at all. Like I'm going to take Tyler Warren and Bucky Irving here and just be totally comfortable with that. Just be like, yeah, that is totally fine. And I'm not going to take Kyron because I already have Devontae Adams. So there you go. I've got my little mini correlation here with Devontae Adams. And then, for example, I wouldn't really ever need to take, Alvin Kamara or whatever here on this slate. You wouldn't need to do, you remember that Brock Purdy thing I was talking about? You just wouldn't really need to do that here. Like all you've got to do is it truly is I think you care a little bit more about correlations in these because like let's say 140 points wins the main BR, 125 points might be good to win the victory formation because it's so small. And the same is true in like the third and long or the fullback dive or whatever. Like you just don't you don't have to go out of your way. You really don't have to go out of your way to do anything, honestly, in these slates, which is just sort of interesting. Wouldn't necessarily be what folks would think. But if the contest is loaded with sharps all doing the same chalk strategy, well, Rusty, that then you start to get into a part of the game tree that maybe I'm not the best person to explain, where that's more of a meta game. But what you'll find the more you dig into game theory and simming out everything is that, far and away the most important thing when you are doing any daily fantasy sports contest is high projected lineups that are not duplicated for whatever reason. That's it. That's all you want to do. Well, yes, yeah. There's always, this is a great way to say it. There's always a reason to get different. There's just much less of a need to hit the quote unquote nuts in a given contest. Yeah, that is very eloquently stated and correct. It's nice to be eloquent and it's nice to be correct. All right, let's finish this with, we'll do Genty and then we'll do Dimes, assuming Dimes has not already been selected. Ashton Genty, Daniel Dimes, who doesn't have a good projection per se, but is correlate. Well, could do unstacked, uncorrelated Mahomes. Yeah, you know what? There you go. There's a little bit of homerism for you. Mahomes throws one to Kelsey, one to Tyquan Thornton, and one to Kareem Hunt. And there you go. I have the winning lineup. I also identify as a mid IQer. That was TTP right there. That was trust the projections, Mr. Chief. What do we think? Should we do some more? We could probably hang out some more. Mahomes, Bucky, Genty, St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Tyler Warren. You love to see it, or maybe you don't love to see it. I don't know how I love to see it. 2-2-2, third and long, QB sneak, fullback dive. Man, do they have a lot of contests. I'm just gonna go back to the main BR. Try and do some more clear analysis of the slate. Adrian, you're making some good points. Not gonna have as much time in the future for these very, very long streams. That is for sure. Which is sad, because who doesn't like a really, really long stream? Kevin posted some real slappy teams in the Discord this morning. Why am I not going to have time to do 4-hour streams when I have a child? I think you just answered your own question. Someone's got to provide childcare around here. It's gonna be, yeah. I mean, there's gonna at least be a small time period where the Davis Matic YouTube channel is gonna go dormant. I wonder how that will I wonder what impact that will have on this channel in the algorithm. I wonder if my channel will be nuked. Certainly hope not. Certainly hope that is not the case. But you never know. Sometimes it do literally be like that. Although I guess like Peter and Ron's channels and stuff. Yeah. About a month away. My first child. All right. Well, maybe we get Puka, maybe we don't. The the ETR projections just came out, so ownership is about to start changing quite a bit. Here we go. This one's for Liam. There's James Cook. We're pretty cooked, dude. We're pretty cooked. Oh yeah, nursery's ready. It's all ready. Is there anyone who does father-son fantasy football content? I think there I want to say maybe there was a channel that got kind of big for a while doing it, but maybe honestly maybe I just made that up. That could be a total invention of my own mind. All right, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty GTO start. Kadarius, that's what they're saying. Yeah, dude. I had to the reason why I had to have a child is that I ran out of people to use promo code Davis over on Underdog. I would love to do an FFPC main event with my son. That would truly bring me a lot of joy. Can you imagine? Just the sheer joy. Me personally, I cannot. All right. That's very funny, Dan, because most people would probably not interpret me as being the father in the Davis Maddock Nate relationship. Most people would probably view it very much the other way. Great Europa slate about to kick off over on DraftKings. Hope to see you guys in the streets over there for Europa League DFS. Get the baby Breza. Baby Breza. All right. Say less. Let's do I want to do Adams again? You know what? I have like no Nico Collins. Let's just do a totally random one-off Nico Collins team. A little bit of CYA. Nate was prepping you for the new baby well last week with how much he cried about Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers. Man, he was tilted. That was truly a moment in time. You really had to be there. And it was a preposterous position that Nate was defending too. Like really, really preposterous. Oh, what can you do though? You know, he's just a boy. All right, let's do. Should we do a scroll? Let's do a scroll. We're gonna do Debo Samuel, and then if possible, we are gonna take Jaden Daniels if I don't get snapped off, which does happen. Oh yeah, Myers projects very well this week. That game does look like it kind of looks like the explosion spot. Oh, Nate's for sure gonna have Myers in cash this week because I think I will probably have Myers in cash this week. And I am the noted biggest hater of the Jacoby Myers projection industrial complex. It just makes me sick. It really does. I think, by the way, just strategically, it does make a little bit more sense for swaps to wait to the 6th round to do it. I don't remember the exact reasoning why that is, but I do remember that being a thing. We're going to take Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs, Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel. So these are all players with like a really high draft rate. Yeah, Henderson is definitely one of the better picks that you can make in the BRs, in my opinion. Couple days late, but I learned some current events, and now Mr. Goulash gets the Tylenol joke. You had to be there. Wow, there you go. I am enjoying the UD Masterclass so far. There you go. Promo code Davis over on UDDFSmasterclass.com. Get yourself some. Andrews makes sense. Njoku makes sense. Pitts makes sense. You know what? How about it? Kyle Pitts bring back. Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs, Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel, and Kyle Pitts. Yeah, no Ollie Watkins today, being rested. Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs, Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel, Kyle Pitts. You know what? We'll rip another. We're having a nice good time. By the way, I've been meaning to pull in some feedback. I have decided to, on these videos where I think there's a chance that there's going to be some extra replay value, I've not been using the night driving, the background music. Thoughts on no background music, boys. Questions, comments, concerns? I don't really miss it. Maybe I was thinking you guys might miss it to some degree. I can't click on Pitts anymore. Yes, all you need to do if you are a YouTube, if you want to be in the Discord, if you want to get the members only videos, you're a YouTube member, all you need to do is link your YouTube account to Discord. I've been told it is a little bit easier to do on desktop. Sometimes there can be an error when you do it on mobile, but it's pretty easy, Pathins. You should be able to figure it out, because I think you're a smart young man, and I truly believe in you. All right, let's do. Wow, I thought I was going to get gifted Jonathan Taylor. Yes, we will take the Wood 0015. By the way, he has a site, and I don't know the link off the top of my head, that that tracks results in the main BR, and you can see like the expected value of your lineups and stuff, which is it's pretty cool. Wow. There's a lot of time in my life where the Oklahoma fight song has been, obviously I have played, what do you think, 5,000 hours of NCAA franchise in my life as the University of Oklahoma. I've had that fight song stuck in my head so often in my life. Man, I'll tell you what, if Puka has a bad game, like if Puka has 11 points this week, the wide receiver position is so wide open, like anything could win. All right, let's do Puka Lamar. Yeah, a bad game from Puka, a bad game from Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's gonna be insane. I mean, Clint, I was just at the right age to play a lot of NCAA. Like that was like the video game I played most as a child. I'll soon be joining Pat and have to mute your. I don't think so, because Pat's like office is right next to like a family area. My quote unquote office down here. I'm in the basement. Like no one is ever down here. So I'm I'm living it. Honestly, yeah, like what is a bad game for Puka at this point? It's pretty hard to find. Pretty hard to find a bad game. Boomer Kevin. Okay. Puka. I'm just gonna take Flowers now. Ooh, no, I'm gonna take Bowers. Round three, Broccolus Bowers. I guess that is like basically his ADP, but come on. Yeah, 15 points like would feel bad for Puka right now. It really would. Which is pretty interesting. All right. Please, Josta and Brett Costa, please do not snipe me, bro. I'm begging you, bro. Please don't snipe me. Underdog, you better rescue us. No rescuing for your BR lineups. There you go. We are in a spot to double scroll. Yes. My commute to work is taking the mineshaft elevator 300 feet underground. Straight to the office. That is indeed the case. I just got Zoolander in my mind. Underdog, please start rescuing Battle Royale lineups with players who get injured. Please rescue us. Please rescue me, dude. Underdog, don't screw me, bro. No, dude, that's the Karain voice. I've got the black lung, Pop. All right. Let's do Hubbard on this one. Probably the first time I've taken Hubbard. 5 injuries in a 2-quarterback league. You might just need God, brother. 2-quarterback leagues are very tough to stomach injuries in. When I moved down south, I was upset to learn no one had a basement. Yeah, finished basement is great stuff. All right, and we'll do. All right, this one is for the guy who kept telling me to take Tony Pollard. There you go, brother. There you go. Hey, Daniels and Purdy, I think, are going to play this week, Doobies. So I think you are okay. All right, we'll do one more. You could always swap on Underdog, but if your guy's out before the game, it auto swaps based on the rankings that you have established inside of your own rankings. Is how it works, brother. Oh, I need to I gotta change this right now. Oh no, it'll be good. So right after this video is over, there's going to be a premiere of a new video. Well, it's the video you guys have come to know and love, which is the week 4 picks and game by game preview, thinking about NFL DFS. So don't go anywhere. I do currently think that Jennings and Pearsall both play. That's my current read of the situation. Easy to not worry about getting rescued when you play on site credits. All right, what angle should I take on this one? We could do a Purdy. We could do a Rizzy P Purdy. I also am looking forward to when Ayuk is physically able to perform, because I took a lot of Rizzard P, or of not of Rizzard P, of Ayuk. Once Ayuk got really cheap, I was like, yeah, might as well. There you go, another Puka team. So if Puka gets injured this week, I do the best ball basement dweller voice a little too well. People are wondering why that might be. What would be the reason that old Davis Maddock has the ability to do that basement dweller voice so well? It's hard to say why that might be. Wow, Demarcus Robinson's back this week. Huge in my points per route run league. Yeah, massive. Soccer Dave approves the Pollard pick. He is out of Tylenol though. All right. Let's do well, sure. We'll do Saquon Puka. Standard, easy. Sharps expected to play. There you go. I wish I had a life where Demarcus Robinson put a smile on my face. You know what? Me too, brother. Me too. I have chronic deep Ayuk thrombosis. He's not even close to ready. I mean, I haven't. Has Ayuk been on the sidelines at any of these games? Is he with the team, or is he just like, brother, get away from me? I don't need this. Because it would be really funny if Brandon Ayuk has not been with the team at all. Should I take Brock Bowers? Should I take Emeka Egbuka? Oh, we're just gonna get super weird with this team, dude. I'm gonna take Hampton. That's all day. Big mistakes on Godwin. Yeah, many such cases. Okay. And then we're going to take Pearsall. And then we're going to take Purdy. And they're never going to know what hit them. Even though I think Pearsall is probably being overdrafted if Jennings for sure is playing. So I guess that's sort of interesting. Whatever you make of that. There you go. Ricky Pearsall. That's what they call him, folks. The shot demon. Honestly, a truly underrated story that Ricky Pearsall did actually get shot and then just came back and played football. Imagine if you were a person who had a big Ricky Pearsall bag last year before he got shot and he still came back and hit your week 17 lineup. Thoughts on TCU ASU? I honestly don't have great thoughts on that. Jordan Tyson is crazy player. Hoover also pretty good. I don't know that. I certainly don't consider myself a college football expert. Benson over Brees. I put Benson one spot ahead of Brees in my rankings this week. Thoughts on Pickens for Henderson? Totally fair either way. Depend on your positional need. I probably have a slight preference for Henderson. Well, Ramondre was never going to be like inactive Listoic. That's not how it works. We'll do. Actually, you know what? I have like no Sam Laporta. So there you go. Samuel Laporta. I slammed a couple beers at a bar with B-Rob here in the Bay 2 weeks ago. The report today, Ayuk not even close to ready. It's week 4. I don't care if he's snorting 2C on a drifting raft with Riggs, with Diggs. Well, how funny is that? I mean, Diggs active, healthy, playing week 1, and he just sucks. Like, how funny is that? All the Diggs guys got all they wanted in terms of health, and he's just terrible. Like, that's wild. Stephon Diggs is currently 15% target share. I mean, that's wild stuff. There you go. Brock Purdy. 35.8 ADP. Brock Purdy, Saquon Barkley, Marion Hampton, Puka Nacua, Ricky Pearsall, and Samuel Laporta. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure that you leave a comment and like NFL DFS Week 4 picks, game-by-game preview, thinking about DFS with Jacob Sanderson. Love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. Make sure you like this video as well. I will see you in the chat.